This is the greatest show on earth. Any of you people out there that find humor in this, you're really a sick, vapid person. You got no soul. Do you think it's funny? Here's to you. Get bent. You people should be ashamed of yourself.
Fantastic. Boy, every time I hear that song and Frank's wonderful greeting to the world and his kind words, I tell you, it's beautiful.
You should either at the intro or the outro, you have to add that blow me from last time.
I was thinking about doing that. I know. I got to figure out how to put that in. He says get bent, which is great. Nobody says that anymore.
And he gives the middle finger when he says it too, which is not for our audio listeners, but it gave me a chuckle. It always does.
Maybe next episode I'll have him say, maybe for the outro, blow me.
Yeah, I think the outro.
Yeah, okay. Or maybe he'll make it for this one. We'll see. Okay. Doug, how you doing, brother? I can't believe we're already back doing more Frank. This is crazy.
Yeah, I'm trying to cram in as much as I can before it's go time, so to speak. So you're always quick on one of those.
All right. That's what she said. All right.
There we go. Beautiful.
All right. No, it's a couple of things. Yeah, you're having a baby soon, which we announced. The baby's not there yet. And we just know with new babies, just life gets a little bit crazier, a little bit busier. But that doesn't mean you're not doing the show. It just means you will be. Your options might be a little bit less. And you're like, hey, Ryan, I love doing the Frank. I want to do this episode that we're covering today of a show, of a podcast. We haven't done a podcast or interview one in a while. How did you find this one? This was your find, right?
Yeah, actually, it was posted in, I think it was the Last of the Action Heroes group chat, or it was posted by Karen Sullivan. So
Sully.
Yeah, Sully dug this one up. I don't know where he came upon it, but he posted it in one of the groups, and I snagged and I said, this is gold. This is gold. It's an interview back from 2021, before we had political Frank the pundit. It was just Frank being Frank, man. He was on a show called Not Sam, which is a podcast hosted by Sam Roberts, who was one of the producers. And I guess before, I would call him like the fourth mic on the Opie and Anthony show, behind Opie Anthony and Jim Norton. He was always present in studio. He did a lot of work for them as their producer. And after Opie and Anthony left Sirius XM, Sam Roberts hosted a show with Jim Norton for years. For years. Wow. Jimmy Norton just recently left the show. I think Sam is still doing something on his own with Sirius, but Sam he's been in broadcasting for probably 20 years or more. He's big in WWE. He's involved with them somehow, doing promotional stuff with them. So Sam, you could tell because this interview, as we watch it, is really good. He's a really good interviewer.
Yeah, you could tell he knows how to talk on the mic. I've never heard of him. No offense, Sam, if you're watching this. It's just blame it me being Canadian, maybe. I don't know. I didn't listen to XM radio or Sirius radio. I didn't listen to that, but I'm aware, of course, of the Howard Stern. I've heard of Opie and Anthony, of course. I hear Opie's doing really well lately, though. I don't know how he's doing. I heard he's doing pretty good. But Sam, I feel like I've heard the name, but I think there's a rock and roll artist called Sam Roberts too. Am I getting that confused? I think there might be a band.
It's possible.
Okay.
Unless you're deep into radio, you might not know who he is, or Opie and Anthony. Obviously, every Opie and Anthony fan knows who Sam is.
Okay.
He has a very distinct voice too, which seeing him on screen as he's giving this interview, his voice does not match his look at all.
I saw some earlier clips on his channel because I did see his YouTube channel. It does have a lot of subscribers, but his view count, it's more than ours. This isn't a slight, but I was just trying to figure out who he is. Who is this guy? Because this is Frank Stallone. Who is this guy? So I was trying to figure out Sam Roberts, who is this guy as well. And he has 375 subs on his channel, but his videos average anywhere from 1K to 5K, which is great. So I'm thinking, why the disconnect between number of subscribers and viewers? At least our channel, we get more views and subscribers on our channel, which is weird, which is great. We only have 19 subs, but we average 50 to 100 views per YouTube video. So I'll take it. So we get like more views and subs. Anyways, that's just on our YouTube page. But the point is, he did early, like I saw his early videos. Yeah, he was big into wrestling. That was the majority of his audience. I would suspect like 10, 12 years ago, he was interviewing people from McMahon to The Rock to Mankind. So those are big names in wrestling that he had on his radio show. So I suspect a lot of the early subscribers would have been those. But yeah, but no, he seemed like a good interviewer. And I think, Doug, this interview with Frank took place during the pandemic, I think, is my understanding.
I don't know what it
looked like, because it
was 2021.
Yeah, for our listeners,
it says February 8th, 2021.
Yeah, so in the pandemic days, for our listeners and for our audio watchers, of course, for our video watchers, of course, as well. Doug, what we did, because this is a 50-minute show, Doug listened to and took notes for the first half of the show of Sam Roberts' interview with Frank, and I took the second half. So whatever Doug presents to me for this first half, I've never seen. I didn't watch. So I went in like mid-interview, which is always jarring, but you start to catch up pretty quickly what the interview is about. Mm-hmm. And so, Doug, you did the first half, and you have not seen the second half, correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Yeah, let's get into it. I've got the video ready to go. I've got you got your notes and timestamps. So,
So what we have to start the whole interview, according to Sam's intro, he and Jim Norton on their Sirius XM show did an interview with Frank Stallone, which somehow we got to get our hands on.
Oh, we haven't seen that one.
Yeah. So they were talking about B movies, and Frank's the guy for the B movies and how much he loves them and everything. Sam Roberts and Frank are talking about Frank's experience making 3 movies: Terror in Beverly Hills, The Rollerblade 7, and Savage Harbor, and some more.
Yeah,
for, I guess, Frank's self-proclaimed worst movies he's ever done. So Sam's talking about.
Wait, slow down. So worst movies Frank's ever done? Are we? Yeah. Are there movies that are good?
best movies. Oh, come on! He was the star of Tombstone.
That's right. I forgot he starred. That's right. That's right. He had first credit on Tombstone. My apologies. You're right.
Sam starts off talking about like B movies and how much he enjoys them, and he makes this Die Hard analogy, where he says if you take the movie Die Hard, you take the money out of it and the stars out of the equation, you have a pretty absurd B movie. So really the B movies, they all start with a script, a story, but the problem is there's no money thrown at them, no money in production, and they get the shittiest actors to do it. So that's why those scripts never take off. Look at any action movie. Like you strip away the money behind it and the stars, you probably got something pretty stupid.
Yes, of course, yes.
And then Sam goes on to say nobody has had more B movie roles than Frank Stallone, which I'd be curious to know how many. We can find out how many acting roles he's done. I'm sure there's people that have done more. Maybe Dolph Lundgren. I don't know.
Didn't Frank? I think he said before his number. I swear he said 82 or something like that.
Oh, 77. He did. He said 77
in this interview.
In this interview, he said.
Oh yeah, he's done. Well, since then he's done a few more. So
yeah, right.
In recent stuff, he's done 82, 83 now. Yeah,
that's fair. Also, this is around the time where Frank was promoting his Stallone Frank That Is documentary.
That's right.
We could start with the first few timestamps I got are just like you just mentioned it right here. 155. Sam asked about the number of movies that Frank has done.
Okay, before we get to that, did you miss? Okay, so I read the comments of this interview. I just read the comments. Did you read the comments on YouTube about the interview?
No, I should have.
Somebody timestamped an event, and I cheated. I've listened to 20 seconds of your part because somebody said this happens at this time. I'm like, no. So I
missed it. I don't see how. If it's that crazy, I don't see how I could have missed it.
Dude, I was like, there's no way. And I went back and listened to it. Take a listen.
With us. And we started having...
What? Did he fart?
Yes.
Oh, my God. I missed
How could you miss that?
I missed it.
I listened to it 20 times and I couldn't stop laughing. I said to myself, there's no way Doug missed this, but you did. Okay, here we go.
So Frank, you were on the radio with us, and we started having conversation.
Maybe he's just shuffling a deck of cards.
No. One more time. In case our listeners and viewers don't believe me, there's no way he didn't sharp that. Like
it's not wet.
Did they have a mic next to his ass? Like it's crazy. Dear listeners, tell me I'm not wrong here.
So Frank, you were on the radio with us, and we started having conversation.
I just love the mm-hmm. And you hear a little bit of a grunt. You hear a little mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, thanks everyone. This has been another episode of the Frank Stallone. Who is this guy?
We should have ended with that.
It might have been the funniest.
That should have been our closer.
Oh, that was his opener.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
God.
All right. So what time do you want me to go to?
It doesn't matter. After that,
It's right after the shirt. Here it is.
And our time ran out. But towards the end of that conversation, we started talking about some of the bad movies that you've done. Because you said, and it was pretty mind-blowing, it was like you've been in 77 movies, which is an amazing career. But you said as much as Rocky's on that list and Staying Alive's on that list, and there's a lot of good ones, you said at least 55 of them were terrible.
No, I'd say 70.
Right. See, this is my favorite version of Frank. He's a little self-deprecating.
Yeah.
He still doesn't have like the social decorum that normal people have. He comes out and says some stupid things.
Sharp.
But I miss this Frank. Yeah. We got full-on political Frank, and that's just, it gets tired. It gets tedious. But this is my favorite Frank. Self-deprecating. Says 70 out of his 77 films are horrible. Although I think he's being a little generous to himself. It might be so. 77 or so. But yeah, I miss this Frank. It was good.
I agree.
A little self-deprecating Frank. Yeah, here we go.
Nice.
Consider them works of art, Sam, because you consciously could not go out intentionally to make a movie that bad.
Exactly.
So it's a form of a film noir.
Yeah, I think so. And in all these movies, right, what occurs to me as I'm watching them is that
again, he's talking about the movies that he's been in. I don't know if this is specifically talking about the first movie they start covering, which is Savage Harbor. But he comes out just and says, you can't intentionally go out and make a movie this bad. And I don't think anybody does. For you try to make a good movie, but then it turns out bad, and then it gains a cult following after that.
I hear you, and I don't disagree with what you're saying. Like, generally speaking, I agree. But the films that Sam is covering on this episode, they're particularly bad films, especially that Rollerblade one. I hear you, but here's my argument against that theory. So there's movies like The Room is a good example of, they truly tried to make a good film. I forget the guy's name, the writer, director.
Oh, Tommy
Wiseau. Yeah, that's right. So I think in his heart of hearts, you're right. He tried to make a good film. He was delusional. Like that's what makes it so crazily bad, is that he felt and tried. But even the actors, I believe, they knew, oof. I don't think people tried to make a film that will fail or bomb at the box office or it will be horribly reviewed. However, if you and I were just like, here's $1 million, Doug and Ryan, and here's some camera, go make a film, I would objectively know, I don't think we're doing a good job here, Doug. I don't think we're nailing, like, our acting is stiff. So I hear what Frank is saying to a certain degree, but he has to be savvy enough to understand that Rollerblade 7, whatever Death Squad movie that he was in, there's no way he objectively did those roles or those films thinking to himself, yeah, this is Die Hard, this is Rock, because he's been on the sets where they are good films, if that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, I also think in these B movies too, you have such a limited budget that when you have some 20 shitty takes in a row, you're like, all right, we'll get something out of that. Let's move on. So you can't keep doing take after take until money's run out.
That's right. They say daylight's burning. You've only got a 10-day shooting schedule or whatever. But then you look at the Quentin Tarantino Reservoir Dogs. Yeah, I'm not trying to push back on you. It's just, I think when it comes to these Z-grade crazy films that are just, there's objectively, people must be stifling their laughter in the trailer.
Oh yeah, at some point it becomes, like a goof.
Yeah.
All right, this is bad. Let's just lean into it and Jesus Christ.
What was that? Oh, earthquake in New Jersey?
The cat just jumped off my son's dresser.
We just had an earthquake in New Jersey. Oh, man. Damn.
Yeah, so at some point, I guess they see what they're getting, and then maybe they lean into it and say,
"Oh yeah,
we can make something out of like a cult crappy B movie."
And there's an audience for it. People like Sam, who unironically are like, they know what they're watching, but they enjoy. It's like the fast food of movies. Like, they know it's not healthy, but they're just enjoying it. It's just something to
look. When I was a young teenager,
I must be very handsome.
When I was a skinny little nerd. But me, my brother, and my two cousins were like best buds. And one of our favorite things was to go to the video store, VHS tapes, and rent like the campiest, crappiest looking horror film that we could find.
Nice. Oh, yeah.
And we found some gems, man. Stuff that we talked to 40 years later or 30 years later.
What's one that sticks out?
There's one called Microwave Massacre. Jackie Vernon. He was in Caddyshack 2. He did the voice of Frosty in the classic Frosty cartoon. Jackie Vernon. It's called Microwave Massacre. Awful, but so funny. Like we laughed our balls off watching that because it was stupid.
It's a 1979 black comedy horror film directed by Wayne Berwick and starring Jackie Vernon. That's hilarious.
Yeah, it's such a dumb movie. It's so bad. The acting is awful.
How do they get the people in the microwave? I don't get.
You cut them up.
Oh, so they didn't die in the microwave?
No, he would kill them, put them in the microwave, and eat them.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Jackie Vernon, who's a stand-up comedian, was the star. He was the star of the film. But there is an audience for these kind of movies.
Oh,
and you don't rent it to watch some fine cinema. You rent it to poke fun at it and laugh.
Of course, yeah.
This is only a 4-second clip, but I got 334 to 338. We're introduced to Savage Harbor. This might be something we can lose in the end.
It was made in 1987, written and directed by a man named Carl Monson.
Oh God!
It's called Savage Harbor.
Yeah, just a little background on the director.
Oh, sure. He mentions Carl later in my half, so now I know who he is because he dropped his name because I went in halfway through onward. Now you'll see the context of how that comes up later. Okay, good. All right.
Go to 418 to 504. It's only almost a minute clip, but it's interesting because of the title characters, not the characters, the actors of the film, the movie posters, the Stallone and Mitchum.
Okay.
You can imagine where this goes.
And he's directed a movie. He was actually a nice guy, but so I was doing it with Chris Mitchum. And so we knew where it was at. We knew what these guys were up to. Okay, let's get Stallone and Mitchum, put them in a movie. And of course, if you ever saw the poster or the VH box across the top, Stallone, Mitchum, huge like this. And underneath, Frank and Chris. So these guys, that's how they're going to sell it. So people, first thing, it's like when you just go into video stores, first thing is the top.
Yeah.
Which is the title. Stallone and Mitchum are, oh my God, Sylvester and Robert Mitchum. And then, of course, they were let down when they see our names. Not that we were bad guys, but it was totally.
Yeah. Okay. And you know what's funny? This is a true story, Frank, if you're watching, because this actually did happen to me this is literally what happened to me. And I think it's one of the films he talks about in this episode, or they bring it up at least in this episode. He was with Joe Estevez. And I'm a huge Emilio Estevez fan because of my love of course, Breakfast Club, Young Guns films, of course, Young Guns films, but everything else. He's Breakfast Club, even the Mighty Ducks. And I just followed Estevez's career. Free Jack, boy, I could list them all back in the 80s and 90s. I loved his films. I just enjoyed Emilio. I liked his style on screen. I thought he was fun. And I saw a video, just like Frank's describing here, in the video store with Stallone Estevez. So my young brain was like, what? How did I miss this? I'm a huge Sly fan back then, of course. Rambo, Rocky, you name it back then. So I'm about 12 to 14, whatever I was, going through the video store. And I'm like, how could this be? And this is actually when I probably truly learned of Frank Stallone. The irony is, like, I might have known Sylvester had a brother at the age of 12, like maybe somewhere, but did I really believe he was an actor or in movies? I don't know. But I picked up the video box, then I saw the little name above Frank Stallone and Joe Estevez. And I remember thinking to myself, oh man, they totally wish.com me.
Exactly. And that has to be the reason for doing that. So you pick up the box and you say, all right, maybe I'll get it and check it out, instead of the 99.9% of people that would put the box back and say, what is this shit? But Chris Mitchum is Robert Mitchum's son.
Yeah.
So yes, you have two cinema Hollywood royalty right there, like on the box. And if you look at the movie poster for Savage Harbor, and we're going to get to another clip where
it's like Nighthawks, doesn't it?
Are you sure you didn't go back and listen to my half? Because
was that what you're going to say?
Yeah, Frank Stallone says that exactly. It's a ripoff of the Nighthawks poster with the gun in the middle and the two actors on the side.
That's exactly what I thought when I saw it.
Yeah.
When they showed the picture in this episode they were watching, I was like, "Oh, it looks like the Nighthawks picture with Mark Hauer and Stallone."
Even Frank makes that comparison too.
Oh, it's hilarious.
It is hilarious. So you and Frank share a mind. That's great.
Oh man, great minds think alike. Great hair thinks alike too.
Yeah. 6:54 to 7:24. We got a brief synopsis of the film with a surprise acting role.
You could get artsy with this. If they asked, "Oh, you're making a movie. What's the movie about?" and you had to explain, "I am a sailor who falls in love with a prostitute
that wants an avocado farm."
who is obsessed with his avocado farm.
Avocado farm, which I probably have no idea. And you know, the girl that was dancing as a stripper was the little girl in the Addams Family.
Wednesday?
Yes. So you look where her career went.
Look where her career went. She turned to a whore. Oh, I gotta use a bad word, little Wednesday. Whore.
Yeah, so there we go. First of all, the synopsis of that film, the whole avocado farm thing just makes it sound even more ridiculous than the rest of the premise. But yeah, little Wednesday Addams grows up and becomes a whore.
Whore. That's funny. I love how Frank's like, just because she plays a hooker in the TV, like the actress is one too. Like, she grew up to be a whore.
Yeah, she went from being like a little vampire chick to a whore. Frank, she wasn't really a vampire in real life, and she's not a whore in real life. I looked at the IMDb, and it is, in fact, Wednesday Addams. Real name, Lisa Loring.
Good for her.
We got at 7:53 to 8:09, we have more synopsis of the film, and Frank being a white knight.
Oh, good.
That we're discussing, but you want to take this prostitute that you fall in love with and bring her to your avocado farm and make avocados, but her pimp gets her hooked on heroin again, and you have to go and save her.
Which in real life I wouldn't do.
You would just
and I say, go ahead, whatever.
I'll find somebody else to plant avocados.
I'll find a real farm girl for avocados.
In real life, I'm not chasing some heroin addicted hooker. Go ahead, pimp, take her.
Didn't he say in the last episode we did that all of his ex-girlfriends are out of work, money list?
Yeah.
What do you call them again?
Busted out.
Busted out or something like that?
They're busted out, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Frank is always a white knight. 8:38 to 8:54, we have fun with extras.
Oh.
Film extras.
They bring in all these hot-looking girls that were supposed to be in the poorhouse scene.
Yeah.
And some of them were good-looking. Of course, I was a young guy then. They weren't.
Okay, not even then. You're still younger than you are now, but this was probably 80s, so you're still 35 probably. But anyways.
Yeah.
Hookers, but we had fun. We were just the young actresses. What can I tell you?
Yeah.
But actually, so we shot it there and forgot.
I just love the idea. Yeah, I banged all the extras. Frank Stallone. What do you want from me? I'm just a man.
Yeah, he's not really leaving a lot up to interpretation. He pretty much comes out and says, like, all the whores in the whorehouses. Yeah, me and Chris Mitchum ran through them all.
I'm surprised. No, I shouldn't say that. Never mind. I won't say that. Actually, what I will say is I'm happy to hear there hasn't been any allegations in Frank Stallone's life that I'm aware of.
Yes, correct.
And that's good. So good on you, Frank, because that's an unfortunate stain that a lot of actors and actresses can have in the industry. You don't hear of any smear or essay accounts or anything. So good for you, Frank. And all your fun time with adults, it sounds like you've kept it above board, as they say. So
it's commendable. People get lost in that shuffle all the time, and it's sad to hear. But good on you, Frank. Honestly, we really truly mean that. I got a clip that's about a minute long. It starts at 9:51. It's about another movie that I think we need to dig up somehow.
Yeah, I thought about listening to this episode. He's talking about these movies that he's talking about with Sam. It would be I wouldn't mind doing maybe one or two of his big movies. Like he talks about Barfly, which I've never seen, that he legit is proud of, and I can believe it. I wouldn't mind seeing something like that, giving an honest film review. That's something we can do for the network. But
life's too short to watch them all.
I saw a couple clips of the movies he talked about on YouTube just to see, and they're so hard to watch. I have a hard time watching bad films. Even though I know it's a movie, even though I know it's supposed to be fun, but even for me, bad films are still for me hard to watch. I'm not Sam Roberts. Some people can do that and really get a kick out of it, but I do have it's hard to explain, but
I agree. And the only reason I'm saying we got to dig this up is because of who's in it.
Oh,
and
okay.
who directed it.
Oh, so that's what he's about to talk about here?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
But there's one movie you probably missed that might be. I cannot. Only thing I had was a VHS of it.
Yeah.
It is maybe put it this way. I went over to my brother's house one day and I showed it to him on the screen. We were on the ground in a fetal position, convulsing, laughing so hard, called Billy Lone Bear.
Billy Lone Bear?
Oh, God, if you can find that.
All right, I'm writing it down.
Up in Calgary. And it's Brian James, good actor. Charlie Napier, who played in
Untouchables.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Untouchables.
Colonel.
Mm-hmm.
And
was he?
Sonny Landham, who was in 48 Hours.
Yeah,
the guy
and
who played
Predator.
The Indian.
Yeah.
It was so bad. And these guys they're Canadian. So the guy goes, so what are you going to do with it, eh? Like these big hockey players.
Is that what you sound like?
Yeah. Frank, are you talking about me? Oh, wow. I didn't know Frank was Canadian. That was amazing.
What are you going to do with it, eh?
What are you going to do with it, eh?
So I looked it up on IMDb.
Yeah?
There are 6 acting credits in the movie. 6. The cast is 6 people. I can't imagine what the hell. An honest cop named Billy Bear hides from the IRA in an Indian reservation. The problem is the IRA's assassin is a bad cop. On the reservation, Billy turns the table on the assassin. Directed by Sonny Landham.
Wow.
Between Frank Stallone, Sonny Landham, and Charles Napier, this might be worth a watch.
That's
if we can
insane.
find it. According to Frank, it's nowhere. So it might be on YouTube.
Maybe that's where you find some of these things is on YouTube. That's where I found one of his films that he mentions.
Yeah.
It was on YouTube. Yeah.
So just something to think about.
Oh, yeah. Actually, yeah. Fair enough. That's one to look for.
But between that and his Canadian imitation,
he nailed the Canadian.
Nailed
that
it.
Was perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. Might as well be your neighbor with that. Where are we at here? Okay. So at 11:46 to 12:13, Sam asks Frank, basically, when do you know, like throughout the process, that the movie is going to suck?
When Frank signs on.
But the check cleared.
I read the script and it's like, okay. Then you meet the director and you feel this guy's like on glue or something. But anyway. I was young. You go for the hang, more or less.
I see.
You go in, you listen, I do the best. You do the best you can in a bad situation. I don't want to go out. Of course, you don't intentionally want to go out there and suck, but you go out and do.
It comes naturally for some, but yeah.
And do the best you can. But it's funny. But I have fun with the actors because after a few days.
That's basically the clip. To our question that we asked a little bit earlier is, okay, I guess at some point during the production, you realize that this isn't going to be a box office smash. Right. So you end up you lean into it production wise, but in the meantime, you're having fun with the crew and the cast and everything. So I can appreciate that. You're like, all right, it is what it is. Let's just make a film and have a good time.
Louise brings up a good question in our chat here. How the hell did Frank get on the Sam Roberts show? This is probably the most legit interview that Frank has had in decades. Couple of things. First, Louise, if Frank comes on our show, that will be the most legit interview. Trust me, I could run a good interview with Frank if he lets me.
I know you won't take any pot shots at him.
No, I won't take any cheap shots.
No cheap shots.
Not at all. No. Of course not. No, I would never with anybody. No, it would be a real sit down talk. It would be a real discussion. And Sam does a really good job too. And Sam's angle on this episode, Louise, and for our listeners, is that again, he likes bad films, and so he brought Frank on with the idea of, hey, just so you know, Frank, we're going to talk about your bad films. There's no curveballs here. Frank came on knowing that they're going to talk about the films that are fun to make fun of. Frank, to his credit again, leans into these films that are not that are maligned by the public overall, but enjoyed by people like Sam Roberts. Okay, all right.
Louise, if you want to produce the show for us a little bit, get that Google machine working and see if you could dig up his interview with Jim and Sam, because apparently he was on Sirius XM doing an interview with them. So if we can get our hands on that, yeah.
If you find the link, put it in Discord, send it to me in Discord. Okay.
Let's see. His good films. Oh, yeah. Okay. Let's go to 3:25 to 3:36, about 10 seconds of his good films.
Oh, his good films. This should be, what, a 10-second clip? Or
yeah. Yeah. No, that's exactly what it is.
Does he say Tombstone? That's right.
You bet.
Ready to see.
It's amazing. Seriously, when I think about some of the really good movies I've done.
Yeah.
Tombstone, Barfly, Hudson Hawk.
Frank, I love you. I really do. But Barfly is probably the film that, and I haven't seen it, but objectively speaking, again, it's probably the most screen time he's had in a film that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yes, but he says films that I've done. Like you,
that's what I mean.
Do those films?
That's what, Frank. I love you, but that's what kind of bugs me. You can't say you've done. You can say you were in, you were a part of, but you didn't do Tombstone. Kurt Russell and Val Kilmer did Tombstone. Sly did Rocky. Okay, you were in Rocky and you were in Tombstone. Now that's what I'm trying to say here. But you did Barfly. Okay.
And apparently he did Savage Harbor.
And it shows.
All right. Now we go to 1407 to 1433. It's a not at all offensive accent.
Oh, I love it. Sweet. So he does another Canadian accent?
What was that one offensive?
That's the beauty. Canadians don't get offended. That's the thing. It's weird. There's some nationalities and or nations, and Canada's one of them, where South Park did the whole thing, blame Canada.
Yeah.
Like their characters of the Canadian characters, they do this. You laugh. It's funny. Yeah. But there's other nations that you shouldn't make fun of. Let's see or make accents for. Let's see what happens here. Okay.
No one would pay for it. So I get that. But here's the deal with that.
Yeah.
So we're doing this movie, and at that point, a lot of these companies like Peacock Films, they're most of them like are Middle Eastern guys that know nothing about the film business. They're either from, I don't know where the hell they're from, but anyway. But they come up with money. In those days, being a rock musician, money was tight. They come up and they go, my friend, we'd like to. I said, all right. So I talked to my agent. So John LaRocca.
It's always my friend.
Who's in
my friend. It's always my friend. I've traveled the world in the Navy, and I've been to numerous countries throughout the world, all over the world, Doug, my naval port visits. And it's true. It's always my friend. I'm everyone's friend. Everywhere I go, I'm their friend.
A lot of friends.
I got a lot of friends.
That's great. He only gives you a little snippet, right? He
should have kept going. He should have kept going. My friend. I love it. I love how he said my friend. That's perfect.
I think, though, if he goes too long, he's going to lose the accent. It's going to sound terrible. So he gets in, gives you a little sound bite, and gets out. He's a pro, this guy. He's a pro. All right. This is a quick clip. It's only 6 seconds. It starts at 1440. And my note is, one of what guys, Frank?
Okay. God rest his soul. Who's in my movie, who just passed away. But he was the classiest agent because he'd take the gold from out of your teeth. He was like one of those guys.
Yeah.
So he knew.
One of those guys.
One of what guys, Frank? Who takes the gold out of somebody's teeth? Who could be an agent?
I was going to say, let us know in the comments.
We go to 1652 to 1720. He's talking about a deaf-mute cameraman.
Oh, wow. He probably enjoyed Frank's movies more than anybody.
They would have someone with him, but he was good. So anyway, I show up on the set one day, and he's going ballistic, the camera guy. He's going, it's like a hand job, all his hands. I said, what the hell's going on? And the interviewer's going, I said, I'm sitting with Cameron. I go, what the hell's going on?
I wish our audio listeners could see. Remember that controversy where Donald Trump imitated the reporter that made that spoke poorly about Trump, and Trump did the emotions of what the reporter may or may not have looked like. Frank did his Donald Trump doing the same thing. Like he's imitating a deaf mute person's actions, just kind of like
flailing his hands and going. I don't know. Is that what deaf mutes sound like?
I guess I act like they flail their arms in frustration. All right. Yes.
Showed up. He goes, these people, the film company Peacock Films, they forgot to bring the film. Okay, 50 miles out of town.
That's good. So the deaf mute is flipping out because he has no film to put in his camera. 1737 to 1808. We got more totally non-offensive stuff.
Oh, sweet.
In my 50 years in Hollywood, I've never seen anything like this. So I said, I'm going home.
Yeah.
Because by the time they got back, And they go, oh, no, my friend. I said, nah, I'm out. So my manager took the brown bag with the cash. I went home. I said, when you get together, call me again. So we come there next day, and there's craft services, and they have all their family there sitting in our director's chairs eating food, like with the, I don't know what the hell they wear, those things in the Middle East, or you can see this much of their face. I said, what the hell is this? Was this the Last Supper? What the hell's going on here? So I said, no.
Okay, you know what's funny? I was watching your half for the first time, right?
Yeah.
And Sam Roberts, he runs like a structured show. The idea is he's bringing Frank on to talk about bad films, the bad films he's been in. He tries, definitely in my second half.
Mhm.
So it looks like he's having the same issue in your first half. He tries to steer Frank back to talking about the films and the because he really wants to hear about the process, and he asks real questions like, did you have a script, or what was it like? He tries to get like the behind the scenes with how these films are, like, how do they become the disaster they become type thing. But Frank, he's a storyteller like his brother. They got to tell stories. It's always the stories, and it's not quite the stories that are about the films. What are we talking about here? Yeah, I'm getting the same sense from your first half.
And even though Frank has aged 4 years since this interview, it's still like he still has that stream of consciousness that I talk about all the time, where he just, something will snap in his brain and he'll just go off on a tangent that has nothing really to do with the conversation at hand, but it's just that his brain fires something into it and he goes off on a tangent. Yeah, but he's just loaded with that Middle Eastern stuff. He's
my friend, where's my film, my friend?
All right, at 1913, we have the comedy rule of threes, the offensive version. This is number 3. We know the comedy rule of threes. Here we go.
You wanted to walk off. I got the feeling.
Not walk off. Didn't want to walk. It was just so ridiculous because you go from Barfly to this, or you go from Rocky, where everything is professional. These are the Mike Westmore, the greatest people in the business, to like a bunch of hacks that were like washing elephants a year before. I mean, yeah. So,
but I got the feeling as I was watching it.
Wait a minute, a bunch of hacks,
washing elephants. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Guess the country.
God have mercy. All right, we go to 2059 to 2110. Quick clip. It's a Jack Nicholson comparison.
Oh, nice.
I have no idea. I don't know how to throw wheel kicks and stuff like that. So it's just but you have to have a sense of humor about it.
Of course.
Because Jack Nicholson did 27 really bad movies, Roger Corman movies, and he didn't do too bad in his career.
Yeah.
You got to start somewhere.
You got to start somewhere. I love that. You got to start somewhere. But the difference between Jack starting somewhere is, Frank, you're still there.
Yeah. Jack Nicholson at some point made the transition to serious movies, and Frank is still doing B-movie roles.
Veterans Day, man, that movie it's in post-production.
Oh, post-production?
It is, according to IMDb, it's in post-production. So is Waxman. Waxman's in post-production already, because it's one of those films shot in 12 days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I looked at his in-production stuff, and there was a couple of them that I'm interested in.
Veterans Day, that one is, because it's right for the network, right? It's a war movie.
Action.
Action.
Yeah, it's war veterans going head-to-head with cartels or something like that. Yeah. 2312 to 2331. Favorite line. Not sure what this is, but let's check it out.
That fans like the most. You still have the line that fans like the most.
Which is that?
The line that I like the most is when your wife is worried about you, and you look at her and
I didn't
you
even
go,
know I had a wife, did I?
Oh, wait till you hear about your wife in this movie. First, I'll tell you the lines, and then I'm going to tell you about your wife in this movie. Okay. So when you look at your wife and you go, maybe you didn't hear, Hackstone don't kill so easy. I was like, oh man, God, that is so great. That is great. But the line that everybody loves.
Maybe you don't hear Hackstone. And you don't bathe either.
So he's talking about a line. This is the second film that we're talking about now, The Terror in Beverly Hills or something like that.
Yeah. If our audience is tracking these bad films that they're talking about, sure.
Yeah. I mean, bad movies are built around these one-liners. So I could totally imagine Frank, like, in earnest, delivering a line like that. Hackstone don't kill so easy, or Hackstone was his character's name.
Oh, man, I love it.
We go to 2344 to 2407. Frank don't remember. So we got a little taste of that before. Where I had a wife in that movie. Frank's having a little problem with his recall here.
What's the other one?
The line that everybody loves, that I've seen like little snippets of in every video on YouTube and everything, is when the chief of police is like yelling because he's such an angry guy. This character, he's just cursing and yelling all the time. And you look at him and you go, bullshit.
That's Cameron Mitchell, isn't it?
Yeah.
The police chief. Yeah. I go, and that's what I say?
Yeah.
Bullshit.
Bullshit. So let me tell you about your wife in this movie.
So again, completely clueless. But I like after, and he did it in the last clip too, even though you went long on it, he'll repeat the line, that because when he said, Hackstone don't kill us, and then he laughs about it. But here he delivers his bullshit, just Sam said it to him. So he's always in character, man. Always in character.
This will be viral if I repeat the line. You can clip this and put this on YouTube or whatever.
And I guess that kind of leads into this. This is my final clip, 2408 to 2424. Always performing.
Oh.
Because I'm glad you forgot, because it is the weirdest.
I didn't even know I had a wife.
So you have a wife and a child in this movie. And it is
Stallone don't kill too easy. I'm going to tell that to a girl next time. Frank Stallone don't kill too easy.
It's a great line. But
tell that to a girl. Hey, you're on your first date with this girl. Just by the way, I don't kill very easily. Whoa.
Yeah, I don't know. But he had to repeat it. He had to repeat it 2 more times.
All right.
Always a performer. Yeah.
You got time for my half, Doug, or what?
Yeah, let's do it.
I hope so. I've got a lot of notes. You're very good at your timestamps, by the way. I'm not as good. I apologize. So mine are like general areas. I don't know why I do that, because I think I get lost in what I'm listening to. I'm like, oh shoot, I think that happened 10 seconds ago. Okay, you're very professional, Doug. Boy,
maybe I purposely like Awakenings. I think I purposely
like you're not even involved as an actor.
Yeah,
they could have easily just added those scenes in, while you were at home.
Sam's basically just explained Frank's whole career.
You don't even need to be there.
In fact, Frank, it's better if you don't show up to the set. I think we will just get somebody else.
That's hilarious.
Anyway, so that's how that started off for me when I started listening to this interview. Who is this guy? That's funny. All right, next clip.
And then they would call you at home, and it was great. It was great.
No wonder they made a documentary about my career. How would you survive this?
So that was just a plug about his documentary. This is where he's taking the mick out of himself, which we talked about at the beginning of this episode, where this is fun Frank just saying, that's why they're making a documentary about my career, because Frank Stallone, who is this guy? This is full on self-deprecating Frank. So he laughs at his own documentary.
It's also a bit of self-indulgent Frank too, because it's a mystery why they made a documentary out of your career, Frank. Did you ever see Along Came Polly? That Ben Stiller,
long time ago. Yes, I've seen it the one time when it was first released, but yes, yeah.
Where Philip Seymour Hoffman's character was like a child actor. He was in one movie that was big, and then him as an adult, he's still holding on to this one film that he was in, and he hires like a True Hollywood Story crew to follow him around and pretending like E-Channel is making a documentary about him, but really it was him that hired them. So I kind of getting a little bit of that here, Frank.
Oh, that's good. I like that. Now, Doug, have you ever heard of the movie Debbie Does Dallas?
I have.
Okay.
Have I seen it? Maybe.
I actually haven't seen it. I think I've seen snippets just out of curiosity, just see what is this film that everyone, it's the how would you label it? It's the Titanic or the Star Wars of porn films back in the day. It was the biggest porn film ever, all right, when it was in theaters. Anyways, he references the budget of the Rollerblade movie. I forget what it's called, like the Seven Samurai Rollerblade movie or whatever it's called. That's the I don't know what it's called. It's in the
the Rollerblade 7. Was it like a Seven Samurai?
I think so. Now that I say that out loud. Anyways, he talks about the budget and he compares it to.
Yeah, it's very similar.
So bad. That might be one of the worst movies maybe ever made. It was made in the San Fernando Valley. It was so cheesy. We're talking about beyond low budget. If that movie cost $20,000, I think Debbie Does Dallas, like just the opening scene, costs more than this whole movie.
Okay. So I did a quick little research. I didn't get the budget for Debbie Does Dallas. It didn't come up, but they said at the time the average adult film at the time cost about $20,000 to $50,000. the Rollerblade film he's talking about was actually a budget of $600,000. So,
Oh wow.
yeah, it actually had a pretty big budget. So, all things considered, the first 10 minutes of Debbie Does Dallas cost them $6,000. So, his film was much more expensive than Debbie Does Dallas.
I'm sure Debbie Does Dallas has a bigger return than
way
Rollerblade
bigger
7.
return. People kept coming back for more. All right.
I hate you.
Clean up in aisle 3. All right.
Hold on. Louise got back to
Oh.
us. I looked through all of Jim and Sam's YouTube page and didn't see a clip of Frank. I can't seem to find it anywhere else either.
Oh, wow. Okay.
All right, thank you for doing the work for us, buddy.
Thank you. The check's in the mail, Louise. All right. Here we go. Frank, does it tell the truth about something? Here it is.
I wanted to ask because it's Donald G. Jackson who also directed Hell Comes to Frogtown.
Well, doesn't that tell you right there? The movie Hell Comes to Frog.
So Hell Comes to Frogtown was a movie directed by the same guy that did the Rollerblade film, who stars Roddy Piper. Roddy Piper's famously in that film.
Famously?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I knew that.
Oh,
Roddy
really?
was in that. Yeah.
Okay.
I've actually heard of that film for real. But he talks about Roddy right here.
And the
Did you
person
ever see that?
I've seen Hell Comes to Frogtown. Yeah,
Is it bad?
Look, Roddy Piper, he was great in They Live.
I did a movie with Roddy Piper.
What
It was
movie?
great. I forget. I don't know if it ever came out.
Oof. Okay. So I love Sam to his credit. What movie? Because he's ready to write as he's talking to Frank, he's actually writing down things. He writes down, I want to get that movie. I want to see that movie. So Frank goes, I did a film with Roddy Piper. And Sam's like, oh, which one? He's about to, and goes, I forget. And then he says they haven't released it yet. So I searched, and there was no film that they filmed together that wasn't, let alone they were never in a film together. There's no way that they filmed a film together to have it not released. It just never happened.
So Frank is just blowing some smoke. He wants to fit in.
The closest thing I could come to was that Hogan was in Rocky 3 and Hogan and Piper were together. That was
jeez. It's a 6 degrees of separation thing.
I think so. Okay. Now, Sam asks or talks about Zen filmmaking, I believe it's called. So Zen filmmaking, I didn't know this, so thank you, Sam, is the idea that when they start making a movie, there is no script. You just set up the cameras, and it's almost like Curb Your Enthusiasm done poorly.
Yeah.
We're going to have a fight here to fight for save the girl from the bad guys. Go, start talking.
It sounds like the way they did Mission Impossible, but Brian De Palma with Mission Impossible, he started with the action scenes where he knew the action set pieces, and then he built the story around that. But this seems different.
This might be a little bit different. Zen. I think it's called Zen or Zed or Zen filmmaking.
They did it through what they call Zen filmmaking. Do you remember them talking to you about Zen filmmaking?
No, only thing I remember is the filth around the bathtub.
Okay.
Toilet not being flushed. That's what I remember.
So he's talking about the bathrooms were horrible that he had to use on set. There's rings on the bathtub, and the toilets are full of shit. Listen to what he says about the writing, and this I had to look up.
Well,
I don't think that was Zen.
that's not that Zen, to tell you the truth.
That's Zen bathing.
But they said Zen filmmaking is the way they make film where there is no script. And they just have...
What a surprise. The dialogue is unbelievable. It was written by Clifford Odets.
So he says it was like the film was written by Clifford Odets. So I'm like, oh, is this like a really bad like playwright, script doctor, or what? Who is this guy? I looked him up. No, he was a very world famous, well-known playwright. Like he's a very good writer. So it didn't make sense because the scenes were written by, or the dialogue was written by Clifford Odets, but that would make it good.
He makes the weirdest connections.
Yeah. So I don't know if he was going for something. He should have picked a different author. This is a good author. It didn't make sense. Oh, he just says here, this is the first of 2 times where he tells Sam, you should have me back on. And I went to the YouTube channel, and Sam never had him back on. So here we go.
It's amazing. These guys, I don't know how they get these movies done. We got to do this again. I'll send you a list of other ones that just...
Nope. Okay.
How about Ground Rules, where I'm playing an off-road cycle. I don't even know how to ride a motorcycle.
That's
but
what
but my name is like Zeke something. And again, the motorcycle, big jump at the end, the scene, I take the helmet off. You know.
yeah. Whew, that was tough.
Everyone thinks like I'm a martial artist, like an off-road biker.
That's how stunt acting is. The guy doesn't actually do the motorcycle jump, but when he rips the helmet off, yeah, it's the guy.
The only one that does that is Tom Cruise right now, and Jackie Chan back in the day. There's very few actors that do the stunts. Yeah.
So the Black Knight is basically, first of all, you talk about like names and stuff like that. All three of these movies do exactly what you said, where it says Stallone on the poster, and all three of them do it. But the great thing about this is that it says Stallone Estevez, because Joe Estevez.
This was the movie I saw. I remember when they talked about this in the interview, my brain went to saw this movie in the video store.
That's the one.
See him.
Yeah.
I did a movie with him called The Garbage Man, which is really bad. Really bad.
Oh, there's so many.
As a matter of fact, Marty Sheen showed up on the set and he had to leave.
So Martin Sheen came onto the set because Joe Estevez is there. I think Joe must be. I think he's the brother of Emilio, so it's one of Martin's sons. So Martin's there to visit his son on the set. Oh, let's see what you're doing. Martin, of course, has been an incredible film. Like this is what I mean. That he sees the set, sees the direction of the film, so he knows pretty quickly. Oof, my son is in another bad. But Joe Estevez, another bad film for Joe. Here's what Martin has to say.
So Hollywood is like a family business.
Oh, sure.
Joe Estevez, is that name sounds very familiar.
He's Emilio's brother.
I know, but it sounds familiar.
I'm sure he's been in something. I'm sure he's been in something that's decent. I'm sure, but
wait, hold on. Was he a musician? No.
I don't know.
Wasn't? No. Who performed Joe Esposito?
Yeah.
The song for the Karate Kid, You're the Best Around. Joe Esposito. I'm sorry. Yeah. Cut that out. I sound like
that's staying in. No. Anytime you sound like a buffoon, that stays in. You're handsome. I can't give you brains too.
One or the other.
I can't be around this.
He goes, you think your career's over? Boy, after this one. Yeah.
So you hear that? So Martin says to Frank, you think your career's over? Well, we'll be after this movie.
That's a great singer.
Zing. Yeah, for
Martin's got some chops.
Okay. But then Frank continues here very shortly why he does these films. Fair enough.
So you don't remember if there was would you have done the movie if there had been no script?
At that point, if they paid me, I didn't care. I was at that.
Yeah.
Yep. Look, and I'm not casting aspersions here. I'm not. That's not my intent here. But that is where his career has basically been his whole career. At the end of the day, if you're willing to hire me, because what is his track record? Doug, you're running a movie company. You're a production company, okay? And you got a film that's been greenlit, and the casting director comes up to you and says, we're hired Frank Stallone. What would your first reaction be? Like, oh, I thought we had something special here.
Yeah. Are they thinking we had something special, or are you saying if we got Frank Stallone, we can at least use the Stallone name?
No, but I didn't frame the question very well. What I'm trying to say is it's a project you truly believe in. Like, it's something that's going to be good. No, it's a good film. Like, you've got your heart set on this. Any film that Frank's been in, like Tombstone, the reason why Tombstone is Tombstone, but it's not Tombstone because of Frank. He had an early kill. He was killed by Doc Holliday in a 2-minute scene at the very beginning.
If I'm backing a movie financially, let's say, and then the casting director tells me we got Frank Stallone, I would say, oh, this is the kind of movie it is.
This
is financing.
Yeah. What's our budget? I thought we had a bigger budget.
Yeah.
Yeah. We can't afford a stronger cast. I'm like, oh shoot. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. You're bummed.
Yeah. So here we go. So here we have Frank just telling us the kind of caliber of people he works with.
I don't know. You would think, and there's also, so there's one scene where the director who also acts in the film, I think he plays the Pharaoh or the Pharaoh's brother.
Go back like 10 seconds. What was Frank doing with his hand there?
Oh,
so there's one scene where the director who also acts in the film, I think he plays the Pharaoh.
This is purely for our YouTube listeners, but what the hell was that? He was like jamming his thumb like the side of his thumb up to his nose. What were you
I think it's
smelling?
like smelling. I think he's smelling something on his thumb. Yeah.
He checked it from that fart before he checked.
Oh, I
Checked
think
his
so. I
other-
think he was sitting on his hands maybe during that.
Or he just reached back to check, just be like,
Oh,
"Oh,
come on.
how bad is this? What am I sitting in right now?"
Oh God.
Or the Pharaoh's brother, he's talking to a woman, and they say that, oh, she's speaking to like a psychic. She's translating for a psychic. But it's clearly just a cover because she's getting fed lines and she's just repeating them.
Well,
But the original voice
they're horrible. Listen, there's a good movie I did in South Africa called Mask of the Red Death, Edgar Allan Poe. And if you want to see something really bad, watch me try to do the tango in knee boots.
It is a movie called The Mask, whatever. It is an Edgar Allan Poe film. And I love how Sly, one of his greatest projects is to do the biopic of Edgar Allan Poe. But his brother Frank has starred in one of his stories.
Imagine that.
It's horrible. The whole film's on YouTube. It's
Oh
bad.
God. Right now, Frank has a closer connection to Edgar Allan Poe than Sly. And that's his baby.
With putties and a saber. It's so bad. But there's good actors. See, the thing is, I've done movies with Donald Pleasance, Brenda Vaccaro, all these big actors. Drop. But at one point in your career, you've lost a lot of money. You need the money.
Of course.
Oh,
Those are the big actors that he drew from.
yeah, it's weird, but he's saying he couldn't say Val Kilmer at the time, for example, or Kurt Russell, because he's saying he's worked with big actors who have to do movies with me in bad films because they've lost their money.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. And what I love is how Frank's measuring. Like you're down to the dishes with me, baby. He's like, hey, Donald Pleasance, how does it feel to be the shit with me?
They've reduced themselves to co-star with Frank.
Oh man, he's done it a couple times, and he's mentioned where I don't know if I have the clip, but he mentions that even good actors do bad films. I think that came up in yours as well.
Yeah.
But Frank, that's fine. But why can't bad actors sometimes do good movies? We have here, I think I just wrote down idiots again. Somebody's an idiot or something.
Yeah.
It's like one of those floods like in San Fernando Valley.
Oh, okay. So he's talking about the production where they had to fill up the set with water, like Titanic style or whatever it was. And he's just talking about how the water was deep and if you're not careful, you can drown. And then he describes the type of people that drown.
Most of the movie takes place in the wheel zone. I don't know if you know that was the location. The wheel zone is where
it was a gutter, like in the valley, like a storm drain where they're like going.
Yeah.
It's like one of those floods, like in San Fernando Valley, like those things when we have the big floods, they fill up and people drown because they're idiots and shit.
Yeah.
People drown because they're idiots.
He says the people that drown are stupid.
Okay. Is he talking about that scene in Terminator 2, the motorcycle 18-wheeler scene? That big concrete like aqueduct that they chase through?
Yeah, maybe.
That's a very famous filming location in LA.
Oh,
It's in
maybe. But I
movies.
just love that clip there was just to demonstrate that people that drown are idiots. I don't know
Yeah.
I don't know
I just
why.
wanted to show my knowledge about filming locations. But yes,
Yeah, maybe.
People,
Good job.
people that drown are idiots.
Yeah.
Why? But he says people that drown there because they're idiots. Like what? I guess smart people don't drown ever. Okay.
This is interesting. He brings up Sage Stallone in this clip, and it's nothing to laugh at. That's not why I brought it up, but he does a funny thing. I don't know if you'll catch it. He mentions Sage Stallone, then he does an action that I found interesting. Tell me if you catch it.
The thing is, I'm happy in a way that people enjoy it. It's not, I wish there'd be some of my other movies they'd like to review, but what are you going to do?
Oh, here he's talking about how I'm glad people enjoy these bad films, but I wish they would review Barfly.
Okay. I bet that there's a podcast somewhere that has reviewed Barfly.
I'm sure. I kind of wish people would stop pointing out all my crappy films and maybe mention Tombstone every now and then.
That's not a Frank Stallone vehicle, though.
I know.
It's okay. I think it's fun. And I love the idea. So I love being around young filmmakers that said, wow, man, that's really cool. I said, whatever floats your boat, man.
This is my favorite stuff. I'm not going to sit here. If you
Oh, so this is Sam will say here. I'm serious. I actually enjoy these. I didn't bring you here as a goof.
Being 100.
My late nephew Sage, this was his thing. He was one of the founders of Grindhouse.
Yeah.
And he went to Italy and he bought a collection of maybe the worst movies you could ever find. And I got to find out where they are. God rest his soul. But
there you go. Did you catch that?
God rest his soul. Knock on wood.
Yeah, what was that? Have you ever seen that before? God rest your soul, knock on a wood or table? Is that a thing? I've just never seen it before.
Knock on wood is when you like to prevent jinxing yourself, like saying, I'm going to live for 100 years, knock on wood.
I went back a couple times to catch it. He goes, God rest his soul. He goes,
yeah, that's bizarre. All right. God rest his soul works, yeah, but why the knock on wood, Frank? Because he's dead and you're not, you're knocking on wood so you don't join him?
Here we have Sam started saying this. That's what I was saying before. He started saying, I genuinely enjoy your bad films type thing. That's why you're on the show. And he revisits what he started because Frank interrupted him as per his whole interview. Yeah.
Things happen in life, maybe divorces and stuff like that. They need the dough.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He talks about again why they're doing these bad films with divorces. That's why they need the money.
Oh, yeah.
And Sam, he assures Frank that he's here legit.
And then, you justify it at the time.
Yeah.
But like we're saying, like you let years pass and 30 years later, we're still talking about it. And I'm sitting here telling you, like, I'm not yanking your chain. Like I'm telling you, I want to talk to you about these movies because
but you know,
I love them.
At the end of the day, it's like when
yeah, I like that too.
Snark.
So tell me if I'm wrong. I don't think Frank listens to what people are saying.
No, he's waiting for his next moment to speak.
He's waiting for his next, because Sam just said, hey, just so you know, it's a pleasure to have you on. I want to talk about your films. And Frank's not even responded to that. Oh, he's ready for his next story, but he's gearing up for it. So he's got a hockaloogie.
Justified at the time. Yeah. But like we're saying, you let years pass and 30 years later, we're still talking about it. And I'm sitting here telling you, I'm not yanking your chain. Like I'm telling you, I want to talk to you about these movies because
but you know,
I love them.
At the end of the day,
God.
All right. I wrote here, what's funny than blank? Why did I write that? You know what's funny than blank?
Like the match game.
We're knocking Jackson's door down. And you know what's funny? He died young.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right.
It's funny. It's funny. It's hilarious. This guy died and he was young.
He's talking about the director of the 7-Blade film. I just thought that was, what's funny? He died at the age of 52. That's hilarious.
Was there something funny following that?
No, that was all he said. He just said he died of a heart attack, but it was actually leukemia.
That is hilarious. Heart attack, leukemia. You're right, Frank. That is funny. Jeez.
This part here is funny. Frank just starts looking up his films on his phone. All the films he's been in. He grabs his phone and just starts using his phone.
They don't have the budget to blow up a car. So they put this is like 1980s version. I call it CGI, but it's obviously not CGI. They just put an animated explosion in front of the car. And then they move the car for the next shot.
Wait, I'm trying to find this. I'm trying to find this movie. Some of these are so bad that they're actually.
Poor Sam's. Oh, he's actually on his phone looking up his filmography on his phone. IMDb. Sam's like, what do I say right now?
When you're like looking up something on your phone, you're not really paying attention. You're just saying words to fill the space.
Sam was telling a funny anecdote about a film. We watched it as a viewer. It was interesting how they show the car explosion. They just superimposed an explosion over
like a stock, like a stock explosion over in front of the car.
They moved the car away. That's blown up. And Frank's like, yeah. So I'm just trying to look at my movie here.
I don't know if you can actually go Transformers. I don't.
So he says, listen to that. He says Transformers. And I don't even know that. He wasn't in Transformers. And Sam's, what? Look at his face. He's like, you were in Transformers? Watch.
I don't even know what these are.
And you were in them?
Huh?
And were you in them? Is that what you're looking up?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Wasn't it like a video game or something you provided the voice for or some Transformers bullshit? He wasn't in Transformers.
People rock you, celebrity. Some of these things I don't even know what they are.
So do you go back and watch them? Are you the type that's I need to get the Rollerblade 7 series because I need to see my work?
Interested?
No.
Wouldn't you want your own film collection, like just for prosperity?
That's tough. I'm on the fence about that. I've heard actors say when I used to watch actor interviews all the time. I don't care so much anymore, but when I was growing up, I did a lot of Stallone's on the Tonight Show, whatever, Van Damme, and I watched these things. And then So just to hear celebrities say, "Oh, I don't like to watch myself on film," I think, "Oh, that's kind of like pretentious of you." Now that I do my own stupid podcast, I hate looking at myself. I hate it.
Yeah, I can.
So I don't know if I would have my own films. I think films are different than podcasts, but I hate watching myself, so I can get people not wanting to watch themselves.
You got a guy like Frank, though, where this is your legacy, right? And if once everybody forgets about it, it's gone. But if you have the actual copies of it, that can be passed down. I don't know. The longer I talk, the more dumb I sound. But it seems like you'd want to keep your collection just for prosperity. But
yeah, I guess. Well, yeah, you can give it to his kid.
Pretty well-known actors, and he would just hog all the lines.
Yeah, that's what I love. Like, I love the idea.
They could never get in a movie,
right?
They would never. They get a few bucks and they do their own movies because they couldn't get an acting job.
And I just wrote ironic.
Yeah, interesting point.
And he's biting his finger because I think he's realizing, no, the only reason I have any kind of acting jobs whatsoever is because of my brother.
Yeah, he's grimacing a little bit because he knows that hurts. That hurts his soul.
He proudly states there that he never went to professional film school or acting classes or anything. He's self-taught.
It's like, if you want to be a doctor, you got to go to medical school. If you want to be a lawyer, you got to go to law school. If you want to be an actor, you just got to find some cash and you can get it done.
You can get it done. But I'll tell you, I kind of like the fact. I think I was a somewhat natural actor because I've always been a bit of a ham.
Yeah.
But learning on the job was actually quite a bit of fun.
Okay. So no offense. That's not how it works. Look at the actors from Marlon Brando, I'll talk about his days, to Paul Newman. You know, they just sauntered on the set. Marlon Brando was the king of method acting. He started it. There's a reason why his name is in the echelons of the acting world, because you don't just saunter on the set because you're hammy in public. That's not acting.
One doesn't translate.
No, because he's saying, I'm a performer. I tell stories. I'm good at a party. Okay, cool. You're entertaining. You're an entertainer. So you're a music guy. I get it. But that doesn't translate with like Leonardo DiCaprio in The Revenant. Really? Leonardo does a great job in those films because he's hammy?
Because he's good in a crowd? No, it doesn't work that way. Sam did make a funny point there too. When he's all you got to do is show up with some cash and you can be an actor. And we've actually seen, I don't remember which movie it is, but the people who buy their way or bid their way in. You can buy
their way in. That's those movies that Frank is in. Yes, people do buy their way in. They become producers or whatever, executive producer, and they get a spot on the movie. It's like a GoFundMe for the film almost. The good news is, after Frank watches our podcast, because I think he does watch our show, I don't think we have to feel bad about ourselves anymore. Frank explains why.
And so I'm making a little fun of myself. But the thing is, if you can't really, I know it's a trite saying, but if you really can't laugh at yourself, some people have no sense of humor at all.
There you go. There you go. So Murphy's fair game. It's all good. If you can't laugh at yourself and your own, and look, I laugh at myself. You have to be able to laugh at yourself.
Yeah, you can't take yourself so seriously. And it's good because we have no hate in our heart towards Frank. All the stuff that we say about him is all in jest. He's a mockable character. We take advantage of that. But it's refreshing to hear him say that about himself. Absolutely. We got the green light from you, Frank. Thank you.
Got the green light. And one last clip. This is my last clip, because the other one, the clip, he says again to have a thick skin, so it repeats himself on that. He talks about, and I think the reason why he's doing this, I'm not speaking for Frank, but I was analyzing why did he keep bringing up thick skin and laughing at himself because we're nearing the end of the interview, is because he recognizes this whole hour he's done nothing but talk about the shitty things he does in film. And I think there's a part of him like, but it's all good. It's all good. Oh, you got to laugh at yourself. Life is funny. So we're going to talk about Barfly?
Yeah.
Because he actually asked, I didn't clip it as well, but he asked Sam at the end, who's your audience? Who's watching this? He's still afraid that he might be getting trolled a little bit. I think that's what it is. So he's been a little bit of the Sam's like, no, it's just people that like bad films. That's who's watching this. People who like not to make fun of, who unironically enjoy the bad film experience, like Mystery Science 3000 type people. They're the ones who will enjoy this interview.
And Sam is a master troll. He's the one that invented Opie and Anthony's Jocktober. So,
oh, really? He's the one that did it?
He's the one that brought it to the show, where every October, for those people that don't know, Opie and Anthony would review a a radio show. This is way before podcasting. So they would review a radio show and just point out how mockable it is, all the stupid radio bits that morning radio used to do back in the day. And that was all Sam's idea. So Sam is always been a master troll. I don't know if Frank knows Sam's history, but I can see him being skeptical, especially if somebody invites you on their podcast to talk about your bad films. Might have a red flag up a little bit.
Yeah. So I think he's disarming the comments by saying, I am laughing at myself. I'm having fun. It's all good. I did it for a couple bucks. I recognize that. It's all for fun, blah, blah, blah. But don't forget, I worked with Donald Pleasance. And then last clip here, Doug, why do you think Frank does movies? Why do you think he does movies? What do you think you would say here?
For the love of the game, man. I just love being in front of the camera. I love showing my art. No? Am I wrong?
But see, I have a warped sense of humor to begin with. Mm-hmm. So I get it. I thought Oscar was great. It's so hammy. I didn't come from Juilliard. I didn't come from RADA or stuff like that, or USC. I came up with nothing. But I've had a lot of fun. Let's face it, like rock and roll, when you're a young guy doing movie parts, you're there to meet the chicks.
Oh, jeez. Okay, that makes sense. I will agree with you, Frank. I like Oscar too.
Oh, come on.
I had a lot of fun with that episode.
Yeah, it was fun to discuss that one. But there you go. That's why he does it, not for the love of the game or the art. He did it to meet chicks, and he does. Man. Yeah, sure.
I'm sure there's a lot of people that try to get into acting for that specific reason. Frank actually did, so hats off to you, buddy.
Yeah. All right. This is the first time we've done an episode, I think, Doug, and this includes with time with Dom as well. I think where we went back in time, we've done his Instagram, so it's always current. I think this is the first sort of back in time, going to the Frank vault a little bit of interviews. So I think we'll probably do that again in the future because there's other interviews that he's done. I think might be worth investigating with other shows and what have you. That might be worth investigating. I was a little nervous about doing that because I'm thinking to myself, what would he talk about that would be fun to discuss and riff on? And I guess when it comes to Frank, we shouldn't be worried.
I think this was a perfect journey back in time. I've honestly, man, I love doing the current Frank stuff, but it's all politics.
Because since Trump's win in particular, you're right. Since Trump's win, it's been it doesn't even matter what side of the fence you're on. It's exhausting.
Yeah. And we'll get snippets of real Frank where he's not talking about politics. And I appreciate that Frank so much more because he's candid. It's not rehearsed. He's not trying to make a political statement. It's just Frank being Frank. And this in particular, this trip back in time was a perfect diving into for us. And Sam Roberts was a professional interviewer. He did a great job handling Frank, even though there's no pulling the reins on Frank when he starts going off into his stories and interrupting you to say his piece. But it was fun. I like this one.
I just checked. There is a new video that just came out. You see it?
No, I didn't.
Bruce Springsteen is at it again. This guy's got to forget it. Those days of the fry boots, the ripped jeans, and the handkerchief in the back pocket. Oh, poor me, Freehold, New Jersey, blah, 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 blah. He's a phony.
Did you just do the blow me movement?
Is that what that was?
Yes, I think it was like he held like a... What was that he was doing there? It was like holding something and he put it back and forth into his mouth.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
I could only be blowing me.
He's got a little bit of cat lint on his shoulders, just FYI. Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you heard about this, Bruce, not loving Trump?
Yeah, he hasn't been loving Trump for always, but I remember all the way back to the Obama days. He's been a very staunch Democrat supporter. Yeah. What Frank's problem here is that Bruce, in the middle of his concert, took a couple of minutes to go on a tirade, just bashing Trump in the middle of his concert on stage.
And I'm a huge Bruce fan of his music, but I don't like when artists start like
preaching.
Just to again, it doesn't matter what side the fence is. I was like, I paid a lot of money. I don't really care about. Yeah. But I understand that. And this is Frank's right to respond to. I haven't heard this yet. We're listening to this live, folks. It's the newest video. Because he hasn't posted anything. I just went to his Instagram, saw this was like just came out. So here we go.
He's worth about $800 million. He probably spends $10 billion.
Actually, he's worth over $1 billion, but that's okay. Yeah.
$1 billion a year on his daughter's equestrian game.
What? Ooh, that was a bad. Sorry, Frank. That you're one to talk about dads helping their daughters.
Yeah.
Like,
Right here, we have a perfect storm of politics and sour grapes.
yes.
Oh, he's very jealous of the money that Bruce has.
Of course. Bruce is a musician who's done very well for himself, whether you like it or not.
Mm-hmm.
He's done very well for himself, and Frank hasn't. And now they're on separate sides of the fence politically, and Bruce has a family, Frank doesn't. So there's a lot of sour grapes here. Again, we're hearing this for the first time raw, folks.
He's such a phony.
No, he's speaking his truth. That's actually not a phony. A phony would be he was a Republican speaking like this. Phony is fake. He's speaking his truth. He's not a phony. He's a rich guy who's made a lot of money who doesn't like Trump. That doesn't make him fake. That's his opinion.
Mm-hmm.
He might be saying because Democrats are maybe about the poor man or whatever that is, something to that effect, maybe. So here's a rich man who has a lot of money. He's a phony because he's not a true liberal, maybe. I don't know what the phony comment would be.
He hangs out with the elite Democrats. He's a rich guy. He's a fat cat.
Your brother hung out with Trump. Your brother hung out with Elon Musk.
But what's his argument here?
There's rich Republicans. Mm-hmm. And his brother hung out with them, and so did Frank. Why can't rich liberals hang out with rich liberals? Again, it works on both sides of the aisle.
I didn't see the Bruce video, so I don't know exactly what he said. But what is Frank's argument here?
I don't know.
He's a capitalist.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, so was your brother. Mm-hmm. So are you, Frank. Frank, if an alternate universe, your Far From Over album, which you got money from, that's capitalism. But let's just pretend it had a resurgence right now because of this video right now. People are like, I support Frank Stallone so much, I'm going to go buy his album. And it sold 1 million copies in a day. Guess what that's called?
Capitalism.
People want something, they went and bought it.
But you people buy into the Thunder Road and this.
Yeah.
I guess he's saying that he's sold out what he came up on, like being a blue collar guy. He's supposed to appeal to the blue collar guy, yet he's tromping around with his $1 billion and spending $1 million a year on his daughter's equestrian game.
He's a fat cat. He's a capitalist. But you people buy into the Thunder Road and this and that. He's not that. He's Skeletor.
What? Skeletor? What?
Evil, I guess. Evil He-Man character.
Yeah, I don't know. Why is he so passionate about this?
He's really pissed off. He's mad. His description of this video is, I was never a Springsteen fan, which is not true because remember he talked about Springsteen being at the same event that he was at?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I know a lot of you are. Yeah, I am. Be a professional, people. Be a professional. Sorry, his grammar. I apologize, Doug. Be a professional, period. People pay to see you perform, not listen to your left political rhetoric. Now, again, I admit that I don't care about hearing that regardless. You're going to hear it, but it's not an hour and a half. It's 2 minutes out of 3 hour show. It's not that big of a deal.
Even if that's his argument, if he's coming here to say, you're there to perform for the people, leave your politics at home, then fine. But he's going off into this, you're a fat cat and you're trying to appeal to the blue collar man. That's not what you put in your description.
I agree. And what I find funny is because Instagram's free and you can rant and rave on there. Okay. Again, I'm not defending Bruce so much as the arguments he's making at Bruce. Mm-hmm. I am a Bruce fan, I admit. And I'll say it again. I'm not a huge fan of the politics on stage. However, Frank, Bruce doesn't go on Instagram. He doesn't go on Instagram and say the things that you say. Shall we repeat everything that he's ever said on his Instagram about, he's been very vitriol. He's a Democrat. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's allowed on Instagram, but whose rules are those, Frank? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because it's free on Instagram, the message is better?
It doesn't make any sense.
So what? Bruce wants to do it on stage? If people, guess what? Capitalism, Frank, ironically, is that the fans don't like it. Capitalism, the very thing you don't like, apparently, would make people not go to his show. And then you don't have to worry about it. If Bruce is screwing over his fans by not being a professional, by talking politics on stage, then the fans will speak with their wallets and not show up. But after 50 years of doing this, because he's always done this, the fans show up anyways. He goes on to say here, grow up. You go to a foreign country and put down your president. Be a professional, not a brown noser. Who is he brown nosing? The other nation?
Yeah. Oh, maybe the other nation. I was thinking the other rich people in music.
I guess
The elite.
And to be fair, Bruce has also criticized Trump in the United States too. He's done it everywhere.
Right.
With the Telecaster. Wake up, folks, please. These guys get up there, they're embarrassing. They're embarrassing.
No, I don't think he's embarrassed.
He's one to talk.
I was going to say this.
The amount of stuff that we've seen from Frank that could be labeled as embarrassing, like talking to the Muppets when he strategically posed them behind him in one of his streams, like
or posing shirtless with coveralls on. We could go on.
Yeah.
Go back and listen to other episodes.
Woodstock's over. Wooden ships have left.
What?
Wooden ships.
Wooden ships have left. Woodstock's over. What? Peace and love isn't around anymore? What?
Come on.
He's pissed off.
Yeah, yeah.
He's really bent out of shape. He is wearing a News Nation swag, though. You see that? And he also tagged News Nation on this, too. He's hoping this goes on viral. That's what he's doing here. He wants News Nation to have him on to talk about this. That's what this is. Yeah.
Bruce, just retire. Really, seriously, man.
Wow.
That's a great point that you just made. I was just thinking about that. He's reaching out to News Nation. He wants to be their pundit.
Yeah.
You're embarrassing yourself. News Nation.
Oh.
God bless.
Oh. Wow.
You can't make it any more obvious than that.
Wow, I'm glad we pulled that up. I'm sorry there, Doug, a little bit long in the episode, but
That's all right.
I'm glad we got to see that he is pissed off at Bruce. I wonder if Bruce will respond.
Do you think any of that is just him performing? You think that was
It's a little performative. He's punching up. To his credit, he's punching up, and to our credit, we're punching up because we're nobody. He's punching up to Bruce. He's a musician to musician. This is a showdown.
a showdown? Okay. Bruce,
right.
This will never come across Bruce's radar.
You don't think Bruce has heard it before? Again, it doesn't matter if you're Republican or Democrat. You're allowed to, the same way Frank shares his messages on his platform, which is Instagram. Bruce shares his on his platform, which is the stage. And Instagram is available where, Frank? In other countries. Other countries are hearing your message, Frank. So why is that so different for a person to be in another country and share their message about politics in a different country? One just doesn't use Instagram. Bruce doesn't do it on Instagram. He does it on a stage.
Yeah,
it's the same freedom of speech discussion.
Anybody who's preaching politics, you're not going to sway people.
No,
it's redundant. You're screaming into the void. It's pointless.
All right, Doug. Love doing this with you.
Yeah, man. This was a good one. This was fun. I had a good time today. As always, anytime I'm on the mic with you, Ryan, it's the highlight of my day. So thank you again, and we'll talk soon.
So I think all these shows are going to start falling by the wayside because I think people just don't want to hear it anymore.